welcome to Wrestling Goons Radio, and this is part 5 of our 7-part series on getting over in professional wrestling. Today we are covering the Divas. I'm here with Mark Pitts. Mark, what's going on?
Nothing much, just some sad news as far as the Divas go.
Yeah, it's ironic that today's topic is the Divas. We already had it scheduled, because lo and behold, yesterday our worlds were changed forever, apparently. AJ Lee announced her in-ring retirement from World Wrestling Entertainment. Mrs. CM Punk is no longer going to be the best diva in the world. Myself and Mark are truly saddened by this. In-ring retirement is what they specified on the WWE.com and on all the dirt sheets. It's ironic that they would put in-ring in quotes. Mark, thoughts?
Yeah, the news came as quite a shock to me. I got home, started reading the dirt sheets and everything, and lo and behold, thank you, AJ Lee's trending on Twitter. And I guess I should have known something was coming, but it just kind of came out of left field on a non-news day, really.
I'm wondering if her contract is up. I'm wondering if maybe there's a disagreement in the back. I'm wondering if Mr. Punk told her that he wants her at home more. I'm wondering if she's burnt out. Like, there's so many things that we don't know right now, especially with Give Divas a Chance, being something that's been trending. You would think that AJ Lee would be the poster girl for that. Yeah, like Mark said, man, we are really, really, really shocked right now.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't really heard anything about the reasons why. I know there's speculation, and Bailey put out a picture on Twitter the WrestleMania weekend, and she had her hand on AJ's stomach and whatnot, and seemed kind of awkward. And who knows? Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe she just wants to spend some more time with Punk. I don't really know.
She also wore that I'm a Hugger shirt that she never explained why she wore it. In her final match, by the way. Yeah, that's crazy. That'll be her final match wearing that shirt.
Yeah, maybe that's what her little hint for everyone on the internet was, that maybe she put Bailey's shirt on just to throw back about the pictures. I really don't know.
That's ironic.
So, what do you think that this means for the Divas division? I know earlier in the week and last week they were talking about a revamp of the Divas division. How far does this put them behind the 8 ball?
Man, I gotta be honest. You're losing easily the top person that you've had for the last 2 to 3 years in your division. Yeah, I think it hurts a lot, but at the same time, I think that Paige can step in and be that person that carries the AJ load. It's going to hurt, but because they only get one segment a week right now, it's not going to kill the show so much.
Yeah, honestly, with it just being the one segment a week, and I think the most they've ever had on Raw was 2 segments that they had, 2 main storylines. And let's just go over the main divas that we are left with now. We have Natalya, we have Paige, we have Nikki, we have Naomi, we have Brie. And as far as the main storyline divas go, that's pretty much it.
That's slim pickings right there.
So do you think that they might try to put forward another diva that they have on the roster into one of those main spots? Like, I know we have Cameron, Summer Rae, Eva, and Rosa. And eventually we're going to get back Layla possibly. And I heard some news that Tamina Snuka was supposed to be on the return.
Tamina Snuka is definitely a possibility. I want Alicia Fox. I see nothing wrong with Alicia Fox. Every time they put Alicia Fox in a storyline, she kills it. I'm great with her. I think we're about to get Charlotte really soon, so Charlotte's going to be another person. And please, dear God, don't bury her like you did in her first WWE match, where she loses in 2 minutes. God. It's gonna have to be Paige and Nikki running this division, man. That's what I feel like. I mean, if they put Natty in that spot, she can do it. But for some reason, they don't want Natty in Diva's storylines. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I think Alicia Fox would be great. She's definitely improved in the ring. From just a couple years back, she botched a whole bunch, but she's definitely improved. I think Charlotte is a name that even Vince McMahon's been tossing around. Another one's Sasha. We also have Emma going back down to NXT to hopefully get revamped as more heelish.
Working with Bailey, by the way.
And Bailey, that's another name I think that she could be projected up into that main roster of divas.
Yeah.
So do you think that they will take Charlotte and Sasha both at the same time to come up to the main roster, or do you think that that'll leave too few spots in NXT women's?
Yeah, I think they'll give it a few breaks. Like, I think that Sasha's gonna run her deal here with Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, and I think once she wraps that up and she drops the belt, then Sasha will be on her way up too. But I do think that they are planning on Sasha and Charlotte running the Divas division for a very, very long time.
Okay, so I know that we had said that the Divas get maybe one storyline on Raw and one storyline on SmackDown. What about adding more storylines to the division? I know they do matches on Main Event and they do matches on Superstars, but it really feels like they're just thrown together. Do you think that they should do a network show for the Divas division? Do you think that that possibly could introduce more storylines?
I really do. I feel like on a SmackDown taping, maybe you can do it. Maybe it ain't even got to be an hour. Maybe you can do a half-hour show every single week. But give the people 2 or 3 Divas matches. Give them a story that follows it, and let those stories lean into your matches for Raw or SmackDown. When you have those, you can do so much more with this network and the Divas division. I'm glad they got the Total Divas on the network, even though I don't watch it, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. But they can promote it more, and having the Divas have their own show would really legitimize their division, in my opinion. And I think they should do it. You could run it on a Tuesday. There's nothing on Tuesday. You got the Main Event thing or whatever. You can run it then.
Yeah, I think definitely they need something to put more of a storyline behind the matches, because what they do now is they just pretty much put 2 divas in a match and say go at it. And there's no build up to it. There's absolutely no storytelling. I mean, you can't really tell a story if you're going to be put with someone different week by week. So speaking of Total Divas, do you think that Total Divas adds more of a viewership to women's wrestling as far as Raw, SmackDown, and the pay-per-views go? Or do you think that the people who watch Total Divas are already on board with wrestling and they just want to see what the women are like at the house?
I'm a little on the fence on this because I feel like that Total Divas was the intention of Total Divas in the beginning was really good, because I feel like it was intended to give us a relationship with each of these divas and to have storylines that carry over into Raw and SmackDown. Now here's the problem with that. They tape Total Divas 6 months in advance. So whenever I see a match on Raw and it's because of a fallout that happened on last week's episode of Total Divas, I, as a fan, am not buying it because I know that this fallout happened 6 months ago. I also feel like that a majority of the stuff on the show, women to woman wise, is scripted. Now, I don't know about the, couple stuff, but I'm definitely sure that the women stuff is for feuds or what have you. And I think that's good. I think they need to be actors, and I think they need to have, roles that they play. I think Total Divas has been a good thing, all in all. I just think they can utilize it way better. Like, I don't know, having your matches right around when you're taping the show. That's just my suggestion.
Or could they possibly go to a live show similar to Total Divas on the network that would bring you more up to speed on the current relationships between the divas? Because I know you said that a couple of the matches seemed like they were fallout from the Total Divas. Maybe they could keep an NXT that way, or not NXT, but a network show that way to keep up with the storylines.
Maybe they could work in like a TMZ format. I think that doing a live reality show is really, really hard to pull off because, yeah, like they're live. Like you don't know what you're gonna get on the camera for that 1 hour, so it's much easier to script what you're gonna do. But if it was like a TMZ format, or they're just giving us like, or like the soup or something like that, where they're just giving us the gossip with the divas. That would be great. I'd be cool with that.
So, do you think that Total Divas has been good for the Divas division, or has it been bad and you should just scrap it?
No, I think it's exposure of any kind, which is good, because they don't get enough of it as it is. I don't know how much it has helped them as far as elevating their spot on the roster, though, because they're still at one match and they just lost their main attraction, who had nothing to do with Total Divas at all. So I don't really know how much of an impact it's had on their careers.
Yeah, I think that Total Divas actually brings more than just wrestling fans to the Divas, but I don't necessarily think that you're going to get them to watch wrestling every single week when the storylines, like you said, are 6 months out, and also you don't really give Divas that much of a spot on the roster. It's pretty much litigated to about 10 or 15 minutes per show. So maybe putting it somewhere on the card, maybe twice, maybe two smaller segments, I don't know, something at least to get more of a storyline. I think that once you have that draw from Total Divas and the E and the reality series, you should at least capitalize on keeping the women's attention a little bit more in your product.
Yeah, one thing that bothers me is when they do have these Total Diva fallouts, it's usually a one and done. Like they follow up with the story that they had on Total Divas, and then they have a match, but come SmackDown or Raw the next week, they're not having that match again. If I get seen Jack Swagger Rusev 597 million times, I get seen the Divas do their feud, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that would actually help even the undercard, the Camerons and things like that.
Yep.
Not only to get more exposure on TV, but to work more matches. Because, I mean, obviously, the more matches you work with someone, the better end product is going to be produced from you working multiple matches with that person.
Totally agree.
So, we know that Total Divas is a show that they're going to continue on for a new season. E just signed up for another season. And we get the news last week that the Divas Search is coming back. So, are they going to focus more on wrestling talent for the women? Or are they going to go back to the model-esque type Total Divas Search that they did in the past?
Unfortunately, as we all know, if anybody who listens to WTR and have heard my podcast on Kevin Dunn, I have no faith in the Diva Search. I think that he will definitely get the woman with the longest legs or the nicest breast implants. That's what Kevin Dunn likes. It's going to be on the network, though, so it's another show to watch on the network. I don't know if it's how many subscribers they're going to add of people that feel like they have to get the network to see the Total or the Raw Diva Search. I don't think that they're having people breaking their necks to get their $9.99 in for that. But it's content. I'm indifferent on it, man. I've never watched an episode of any other season of the Raw Diva Search because I can look at nice women in other forms. I don't need to look at it on wrestling. That's just my 2 cents.
So do you think that they're going to revamp the Divas search and be a little bit different than they were previously? Because previously it was pretty much just a model search, and that's how they treated it. Do you think that they're going to involve more in-ring ability and have it kind of similar to what they did at NXT at first?
They might, but I still don't feel like the in-ring ability is gonna take precedent over the fictional look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna go for whatever looks best first, and then if you can wrestle on top of it, then that's great. That's icing on the cake.
Because speaking of all these divas that we think that are going to be up in the main roster, they need to put some more butts in the seats in NXT. Because if you take away Bayley, you take away Charlotte, and you take away Sasha, you're left with Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Dana Brooks, which will be premiering in, I believe, a week. Then you have Devin Taylor and Carmella. So it's not really a stacked roster down in NXT. Do you think that they'll bring multiple people in from the Divas search?
Possibly. I definitely think anybody that comes in is going straight to NXT. I would hope that they get that chick over at PWG that's been the tag team champion for like the last 7 months with Billy Ron. Don't know her name, but think it's Candy something. That girl can go. If y'all need to get on YouTube and look up something, check her out. They should reach into Lucha Underground. Like, it's not too late to bring back Evilise. You know, you can right or wrong. You're not getting Awesome Kong, but you dropped the ball on that. I don't know if that was just timing with her being pregnant and just bad things. I don't know why Karma didn't come back to the WWE. I think she would have been, oh my god, she would have ran that whole division, man. It would have been ridiculous. Yeah, they're gonna have to do something though, because you're right. Like they're eventually you're gonna run out of talent to replace down at the bottom.
Yeah, speaking of Evilise and Karma, WWE's really dropped the ball as far as women go. I know back in the Divas search, they had Velvet Sky, they had Angelina Love, they had Tara, Terrell.
Yep.
So, I mean, they've had their fair share of divas or women wrestlers that...
Well, here's the problem with Tara Terrell. She was a general manager on WWE television. She wasn't even a wrestler. And this girl is the TNA Knockout Champion. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that goes back, I think, to Kevin Dunn and what he views women as. Yeah. But I'm hoping, honestly, that Stephanie has more of a role to play in the women's division. I think that what TNA did do when they had the women's general manager and then the male general manager being separate, it was treated as a completely separate division and ran by different people. I think that WWE could quite honestly benefit greatly from having that happen with their division.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
So, speaking of a tag team that involves a woman, how would you expand the Divas division in order to put more storylines together, draw more attention to it? Do you think that we needed to go back to a division of women that have a tag team title as well as a Divas champion as well?
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head, man. I think, how often every single week on Raw or SmackDown when we do get our one Divas match isn't a tag match. It's so often. And if you got all these Divas on the roster and you don't know what to do with them, you can use the same formula that you use for men that you don't know what to do with them. You put them in a tag team. What's wrong with women's tag team wrestling? I would love it. Because you can book great women's matches better tag team-wise than you could one-on-one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think a tag team would benefit greatly, and you don't necessarily have to have it separate from the main women as well.
Yeah, no, they can do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, your Divas champion could also be part of a tag team as well, and I think that not only would it get them more exposure in the ring and more exposure as far as storylines go, but I think that it would just make the division itself seem more relevant.
Legitimize it, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that Vince is on board with the Give Divas a Chance. Um, we've heard lately that they're wanting to revamp the division, and I don't know in which direction that they're thinking that a revamp would necessarily be in.
I've seen that. I was wondering if you had actually heard exactly what they meant by revamp, because I have no clue.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm hoping that they mean that they're going to introduce more women into the WWE roster. I think that that's a big thing that they need to do. And I'm hoping that it means more actual wrestling. Because, I mean, I know everyone's nostalgic and we can go back to the bra and panties and the evening gown matches and the mud wrestling and all that. And yeah, that was great whenever I was a teenage boy and absolutely didn't know what women's wrestling was all about. But I think that you could hold an audience's attention by just giving them an actual wrestling match that consisted of two women. Like if you had a Natalia and a Paige, or a Natalia and Nikki, or a Paige and Nikki going at it for 12 to 15 minutes, I don't think that it would be a bathroom break. And that's pretty much how WWE has treated it. Therefore, that's how the fans have treated it. It's just a bathroom break right now.
The WWE has spent over 5 years burying Natalia in every corner they possibly could. They had her do a farting gimmick, for crying out loud. A farting gimmick. By the way, thanks a lot, Vince McMahon, for having the best female technical wrestler in the last 20 years have a farting gimmick.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you what they've thought of the Divas. How do you expect to draw viewership and to get people behind on merchandise and keeping their attention if you're just going to give them a gimmick like that and expect it's just to be funny and ha-ha? No one's going to really take your division seriously. So with that being said, we would like to wish AJ Lee the best of luck in her future endeavors. And hopefully it's not the last time that we see her on WWE TV. Although they did already put her in the alumni section on WWE.com. So who knows?
Not only was she the best diva in the world, she was also the best female Raw General Manager besides Mickey Guerrero. She would also be the only one, but still, Stephanie doesn't count. She was on SmackDown. AJ, God, there aren't enough words to describe the impact she made in her little time in the company. She's just been phenomenal in every way of the word. She's going to be extremely missed. If the Divas had more of an important role, it would hurt a lot more than it's going to. We will move on without her because that's just how the WWE Universe works. She's just another spoke in the wheel, but God, she was a great spoke.
Yeah, as far as promo-wise goes, there's not really a diva on the roster right now that could touch her.
Paige is close.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that the WWE Universe has that much invested in Paige, and trust me, I'm a huge Rampager. I love Paige to death, and I've seen her work since she wrestled her mom all the way up through FCW, all the way up through NXT. But I think that AJ being on the main roster with the main event with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, and she wasn't just a pretty face in those, she was those feuds. She's the main cause of the most of those feuds. So I think that WWE is going to miss her a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. She, like the whole psycho crazy girl gimmick, it hadn't been pulled off before her. It won't be pulled off after her in the same way. We're going to miss AJ probably more than we miss Punk. Because, Punk was the guy that was his performer. AJ was the Divas division. So, this will be our first ever podcast that we've done that was all about the Divas. we gave Divas a chance. We added them to our format. We're going to do more of it, hopefully, because they're going to focus more on them. That's the plan with revamping the division. Mark, any final thoughts before we sign out?
Let's go Divas and give Divas a chance. And give Emma a chance, too.
Yeah, Emma's down at NXT trying to get herself back on board. She might want to stop being a klepto. Let's do that. Let's not steal purses for $29. It's ridiculous. And if you are going to steal a purse for $29, just ask somebody to borrow $30. You're at NXT. I'm pretty sure they'll help you out. Yeah, that's, I'm just hoping that they, I want to add that Divas show to the network. We need, give them a 30-minute in-ring show every single week. It's not that hard to do. You have your own freaking network. You already have cameras rolling. You can give the fans 30 minutes of extra performing. I don't see the problem with it.
I don't even think that it necessarily has to be all in-ring. I think that you could do the vignettes or cut promos backstage and get just as much use out of it.
As long as I have 2 matches. Like, you give me 2 matches and the rest of it can just be filler, then I'm good.
Yeah, because if nothing else, then that moves along storylines that we can watch unfold on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully more than just 1 week at a time. Actually make Divas storylines go for longer than just a week. Like, if it's just 1 month, fine, but at least we get a payoff at the next pay-per-view. So it's not just the same 4 divas being in a pay-per-view match every single pay-per-view.
Yep, that's my complaint too, is whenever we do have a Divas match or a Divas feud, it's one and done, unless it's the title. Like, for the title, they do it for the whole month, but, you know, outside of that title, what is there to fight for? They need to make me care a lot more, and I will give Divas a chance. This will be going up on today, probably. We're going to go ahead and get it uploaded quickly for all of our listeners. And we will have it on the Facebook page at The Wrestling Goons. You can follow us on Twitter at Goons Radio. That is at Goons Radio. And at YouTube, we are also at The Wrestling Goons. For Mark Pitts and for myself, we will be with you again on Wednesday night for the Raw review. And hopefully we'll have a larger cast with us then, the rest of the Goons. I'm looking forward to it, looking forward for Monday Night Raw, looking forward to more Divas. And, unfortunately, looking forward to life without AJ Lee. For Mark and myself, we will see you on the flip side.